He's a doctor. He's a professional. Supposed to know what he's doing. These are all the thoughts going through my mind. This motherfucker shocked me.
You know, I had a bout with AFib, and I messaged you, right? Because I knew, because we had talked about it before. And, you know, it's kind of scary if you don't know what the fuck's going on, you know? And I remember asking, I forget what it was, like, because it was before our first cardio version I was going to have. And it was like, how many cardio versions? It's like 42. I mean, it was like some fucking ridiculous number.
Wasn't that many? It was
yeah. It's like I'm like I'm like freaking out over here. Like, geez, whatever, man. I get them like every other week. And so I mean, it helped, you know. And I, you know, appreciate the dialogue with that, because it helped tremendously. But when it goes into, you know, the competing and all the other things that you were doing, you know, you had that variable, which I assume you've been dealing with that since how long? I mean,
man, to tell you the story on that, how that started, is like, you know, it went way back. So the first time I was in the military, and I competed in Hawaii. Because how long the first time I went out of rhythm. So
that was in Hawaii?
That was in Hawaii.
Oh, so you travel over to do the meet, and that's when you go out?
Yeah. Yep. Go out of rhythm. I squatted 968.
Out of rhythm?
No, I think it was after the meet.
Okay.
When I felt bad. When I got on the airplane, when I felt like, whoa, something's right. Like, I feel like shit, you know. But before that, leading up to that meet, so I had this coach that, like, was at All Army. I went to the All Army camp. And that particular year, I wasn't supposed to lift in the Armed Forces Championships. Oh, so I had to understand it with my coach I wasn't, because we had, you know, enough on the team. I was going to go help him coach, which I must have misunderstood him, whatever the case may be. But he's probably thinking, why the fuck we bring you here to, like, because I thought I was going to help the coach. So I get there to the Armed Forces Championships. I'm 237. And there's another guy on the team who's 242. He's like probably the same weight, but he's not as good as me. He's not Jim Bornhardt. He's good though. He was a good lifter. So my coach told me, he said, I need you to go to 220. You ready, right? I go, no, I didn't think I was lifting. I was like, I'm going to Hawaii in 2 weeks to lift in the record breakers. I thought I told you that. We talked. The guy, I don't know anything about that. I don't know what you're talking about. So this is the day. This is weigh-in is the next morning. This is like probably like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, I wasn't professionally cutting no weight. I dropped 17 pounds in one night, taking, you know, going in and out of the sauna, taking Lasix, going in and out, just fucking doing this stupid shit. And I about died. You know, I felt like I was dying. So I may have went out of rhythm then and didn't know I was out of rhythm. So it could have been then. Because after that, I made weight. I did well. Won the meet. We won the team championship. Did great. Like 2 weeks later, I'm headed to Hawaii. That's when I go to Hawaii, and I go over there and I go 242. And I think I didn't feel right the whole time, but it didn't feel as bad until after the competition. Then I decided to like drink a bunch of alcohol and like party and do whatever and get back on the plane and try to come home. And I feel like I'm like, my heart's like racing like 100 miles per hour, like, you know whatever, how fast it goes, you know, almost 200 beats per minute. And I get home and I go to the hospital, and I go to this military hospital, and they're like, what are you doing? Your heart's like, you're crazy. Why did you like, I told them what I did before. So they got me back in rhythm. I left there, make a long story short, and I was fine. But that was the first time I went out of rhythm. But then it kept making it easier for me to go out of rhythm. That one time when I went out of rhythm, it seemed like within the next year or something, I went out of rhythm again. And I kept going out. I kept going out. And it used to be with medicine, they would give me medicine to put me back in. And then they got to where the medicine didn't work. So they had to shock me to go back in rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say about, it's probably 15 at least 15 times.
How are you able to mitigate that? Say you're training for a meet, right? Say 4 weeks, boom,
Right.
it goes out. So it's, how are you able to get in to be cardioverted fast, right? Because sometimes it's a month,
Right.
2 weeks, or and avoid it in the first place, or try to avoid it in the first place.
As I remember, it never really happened. Maybe like once when I was training for a competition. It's usually when I was doing unhealthy shit, like like drinking something, or just fucking my diet is like really fucked up, and
Yeah.
drinking alcohol, eating something bad.
So it probably helped you because you had to dial shit in
Yeah.
for the meet because you didn't want to go out,
Right.
so you weren't going to risk it
Exactly. So I always did well. I never had much problems then.
till the meet was over.
Right. Then I'd fuck up. Yeah. You have that they call weekend warrior, heart, to where your heart goes out of the rhythm. It's a known thing.
Yeah.
It happened to people. That even not lifters, that people go out of rhythm when they go out drinking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a thing. But, and like I said, I think I told you, it would happen over the years. I mean, it was a lot of years, so
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely over, 20 years. But
Mm-hmm.
it would just keep, go in and out. And then I talked to, eventually talked to Gus Rutheridge because he had the same problem. He had a problem with it. And he told me, gave me some advice about it. But yeah, it happened a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear the story of the one
No,
time?
that's the best one. Yeah.
Okay, the best story.
No, let me ask you why you don't like doctors.
Or why I don't like doctors, or why, because I trusted doctors. You're always supposed to trust doctors and trust people. That supposed to be in a higher position and say they, they do that shit. Man, fuck that. So this one time, I go out of rhythm. It's the weekend. I think it's a Saturday or something like that. And my cardiologist told me, if you ever go out of rhythm, come straight to the emergency room and just tell them, so and so, and they'll know, to convert you, put you back in rhythm. Because if you go out, you need within 48 hours. I think it was 48 hours. We need to get you back in rhythm.
Yeah.
Or you'll have to be back then. You have to be put on, blood thinner for the next 30 days, whatever, for maybe longer than that, for so many amount of weeks and days. Before we can even bring you back in to even convert you. So either when you go out, as soon as you go out, you go out, go get put back in right away. So this one time I go out of rhythm, I go to the emergency room, I go over to the VA, and I'm over there and I'm like, hey, I'm out of rhythm. My doctor so-and-so, they said, if I'm out of rhythm, come over here and just like, you guys, know what to do, get me back in rhythm or whatever, And they're like, okay, cool. And they took me back, got me all ready, slapped the pad on my chest here, slapped them on the back. And before, I always went out of rhythm. When you go out of rhythm, for them to put you back in rhythm, it's already scary as shit. You go get shocked, So they would give you something to twilight you, to like sedate you a little bit. You're not totally knocked out, but just to twilight you. And to me, it was enough because sometimes you just like go to sleep,
Yeah.
You'd go to sleep. So this one time, I'm at the emergency room. I get all set up and they're ready to go, pads on, everything. And the doctor goes, they were ready to do it. And I noticed he hadn't nurse hadn't really gave me anything for, I don't remember if I had an IV or not. I don't think they'd given me an IV. I don't even think I had an IV set up. You're supposed to set up an IV.
Yeah. Yep.
Your shit's supposed to be. I don't think I had. I'm pretty sure I didn't have IV set up. And he said, okay, well, we're getting ready to start. It's getting close to time. Be out 5 more minutes. We'll go do it. Come back in. All right, come back in. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, he go, we're about ready. I go, whoa. You go like, give me a little bit of something to like, twilight me, to sedate me, whatever. He go, oh no, you'll be fine. Just lay back. You'll be good. Just lay back. You're good. I'm like, I'm looking like this, like, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going like, he's a doctor. He's a professional. Supposed to know what he's doing. These are all the thoughts going through my mind. I'm like, when you go through something in life to where professional people can make you look stupid, people who should know what they're doing, and I'm like, I'm not stupid. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be. I'm like, he got to know what he's doing, though. I'm like, he said, you'll be fine. I'm like, I know I go feel something. I've had this done before. But I'm going to trust him.
Yeah.
So the next 5 minutes, the next minute, or the next few seconds after they get this, it's probably the worst time of my life. This motherfucker shocked me with no sedation, no nothing. That was the worst pain I ever felt in my life. And we talked about how you sometimes you get up off the table or whatever when they shock you. Shit. I know I could feel my body like
No,
yeah. And you're everything like goes all kind of wicked ways, and that was the worst feeling in my life. And I was so mad.
Well, if it helps in any way, which I doubt, I knew damn well when I went in the first time, my ass needed to be sedated because you tell me that story. Because I'm like, fuck that. Because I'm looking this shit up online, which you didn't have the option of. Nope. Like this is like the paddle shit.
Yep.
I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
No way. And
yeah.
so I'm in there and I'm like, no, listen, my ass needs to be out.
Right.
And it was. So
they tell you're gonna be out.
Yeah. And then it was fine. I go home, I'm feeling like $1 million.
Man, this fucking jerk. Man, I still think about that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, wow.